Nope, not yet. No, that was brilliant. That was brilliant. Not yet.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sunday Afternoon Live at the Chazen. I'm Lori Skelton, and just a few reminders before we get started. Obviously, we are in a very lively and resonant space. There will be a little bit of sound behind you as people are listening to the concert as they are looking around the galleries. Perfectly fine. We do expect that. We do ask, I'm not the voice of God yet. We do ask that for those of us here in the seats, please, no recording of any kind. Please do shut off your cell phones, silence anything that might be beeping, just out of consideration for your fellow audience members. You can find out more about what's going on at the musician at their website, chazen.wisc.edu. This afternoon is a very special concert here at the Chazen Museum of Art, as it is all focused around a collection of instruments, the Violins of Hope. Violins, violas, and cellos that have been researched and restored since the end of World War II. The collection has traveled the world as the focus of concerts, lectures, theater works, and other projects, sharing the stories and memorializing the lives of those who had their lives either lost or altered through the Holocaust. The collection is owned by the father and son team of Amnon and Avshalom Weinstein, who are both violin makers. Thanks to the vision of the members of the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra and dozens of organizations throughout the state, these instruments are in residence in Wisconsin through January 25th. The full schedule of events can be found online at violinsofhopewisconsin.org. I am honored to introduce Linda Edelstein, the Chief Executive Officer of the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra.
Thank you, Lori, and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us today, experiencing this crucial performance as we listen not only to music, but to memory. On behalf of the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra, we are honored to be with you today. For more than 70 years, the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra has served tens of thousands of young people and families from every walk of life and from more than 14 counties throughout southeastern Wisconsin. We are now the largest after-school youth orchestra in the nation. Each season, we meet thousands of young people wherever they are in their lives and welcome more than 35,000 audience members into our performances. Many of our students have access to music only because of MISO and because of the generosity of our community. Thanks to our community, we never, ever have turned a student away due to financial need. But music is so much more than a performance. It's formation. Music teaches us empathy and character and resilience. With music, we learn to listen to others, to blend our sound with one another, and to persevere. Music helps us develop the habits of dignity and democracy, the habits of good neighbors, citizens, and leaders. That's why the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra has brought the 70 instruments of the Violins of Hope to Wisconsin. We know that these instruments can teach our students, and indeed all of us, that art is not only about beauty, but it's also about memory, truth, and courage. We are so grateful to our friends here at the Chazen Museum, this beautiful space, to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, including the Office of the Chancellor, who enthusiastically embraced partnering with us in the School of Music on Violins of Hope-Wisconsin, along with 60 other partners and more than 150 donors throughout the community who've joined with us to create more than 80 events for this project. We are so deeply appreciative to all of you. The mission and the visions of the Violins of Hope commemorates the Holocaust and its victims by collecting and restoring these instruments played by Jewish musicians in concentration camps and in ghettos, utilizing these instruments as symbols to teach about resilience, inspire unity, and combat bigotry through concerts, exhibitions, and programs. This directly connects with the Milwaukee Youth Symphony Orchestra's mission and vision to nurture, challenge, and inspire through music, profoundly changing lives in our community for the better. We unite through the power of music, along with lifelong learning about how we see ourselves, each other, and the world around us. The Violins of Hope were carried through ghettos and across borders, hidden and played when words failed. Some belonged to people who never returned home. Others were tended by those who risked everything to keep music alive. To hold these instruments is to hold so much more than just wood and string. It's to hold the memory of the Jewish musicians who held them in the past. And we place these instruments today in the hands of musicians, both young and maybe not as young, because we must hear them. The proof that hate and the Holocaust don't get the last word. This afternoon, you'll hear several of these instruments played for you today as they bring their stories to life and share their own stories in the legacy. We invite you to join us to see the other instruments that are here for you today and to learn their stories as well. Fueled by hate, lies, and apathy, the Holocaust was a project of industrial dehumanization and murder. This is a truth we can't ignore. And truth is the only ground on which hope, all hope, not just wishful thinking, can stand. So these violins warn us. Beware of the stories that make some people expendable. But they also call on us to remember. Remember the names we don't know. Remember the people whose music was silenced. Those who hit a child or forged a document to save someone or helped someone flee to safety. Remember, and then act with courage today. Let's pledge to never look away, to overcome every form of bigotry, and to teach our children the difference between rumor and reason. Together, we can build a community where no one is left outside the circle of concern. We owe it to the 6 million Jews who were murdered and the millions who were murdered alongside them. May we be worthy of this music and the performance today and its power to live with us forever. Thank you. Please join me in welcoming Carolyn van de Velde.
Thank you all so much for being here today. There's so many people here, and I'm so happy to see you all. I've been thinking about this program since May, and organizing it and rehearsing and practicing with my friends here, and I'm just so happy that the day has finally come to share this program with you. Usually with recitals, I like to be a little bit more ad-libby, have a conversation with the audience. Thank you, I'm tall. I like to have a conversation with the audience. Classical music tends to have a reputation of being a little stuffy, and I like to engage with everybody as well as I can, because nobody up here is stuffy. However, given the importance and the density of this topic, I actually wrote things out to say to you today. And so I shall be reading off of it today. When Barrett Ness approached me to partner with the Chazen to program this recital, I wanted to achieve 3 goals. The first was to play as many of the provided violins of hope as possible. The second was to perform the musical compositions of Jewish composers who were either exiled or murdered in the Holocaust, and to not have you all leave today feeling saddened and bereft, but rather touched somehow by the coming together of music from the Holocaust performed on instruments that survived that catastrophe. Stringed instruments need to be played. They need to breathe, and they need to be exercised. One of the saddest things to me is seeing a violin or any string instrument on display in a glass case in a museum. String instruments were once made of living materials, and those materials need to be used in order to maintain their sound and to flourish. When a violin or a cello or a viola isn't played for a long time, the sound closes up and it becomes muted. It needs the vibrations of regular musical use to achieve and maintain its full sonic potential. And during the past few days, my colleagues and I have discussed several times about how amazing these instruments from the Violins of Hope sounded, and how even better they would sound if they were played every day consistently. Each one of them has a very unique voice, and we have been playing them as much as humanly possible, and exercising them and giving them the space to breathe since Wednesday. Given the incredible histories of this museum, of these instruments, I wanted to have as many violinists up here on stage with me as possible. Today's program features 4 violinists, including myself, Chantel Charis, Janet Liu, Sahada Buckley, and those are the violinists. We also have 2 amazing, violists, Dr. Kayla Patrick and Dr. Melissa Snell. And our cellist is Dr. Aaron Freed and Zuzu Robodeau. We are all playing on instruments that you see here today. And these musicians are some of my most favorite musicians in Madison, and I have had so much fun collaborating with them the last couple of weeks. Rehearsing schedules have been hectic. Everybody here is super busy, and I just want to say thank you again for accommodating all of this, and I love you guys. So. There is an astonishing amount of music that came from the Holocaust, and I knew I could easily make a program that celebrated some of its composers and its musicians. I hope to shine a light on how these musicians were not so different from the musicians you will hear today. They studied, they practiced, they freelanced, they hustled, they performed and probably got nervous at times. They probably played a ton of wrong notes at some point or got chewed out by their teachers for not being prepared for their lessons. That's never happened to me though. These musicians had careers, friends and families, passions, faults, hobbies, and goals. And the composers you will hear today wrote some of the most beautiful music in horrific conditions. It's impossible to speak about the Holocaust without acknowledging its difficult knowledge of anti-Semitism and atrocities. The suffering of targeted groups that primarily included Jewish people, but also LGBTQ folk, Roma and Sinti, Jehovah's Witnesses, and political prisoners. Today, we celebrate musicians and their listeners who led full, beautiful lives by honoring the Violins of Hope in their history through performing music on them from the same historical period. And in doing so, our performance today is in itself a hopeful act, that we all might leave this space feeling a little bit lighter and a little bit brighter. So, today, we begin the recital with the heavier music. In our first chapter, you will hear compositions by 3 composers who were imprisoned in Theresienstadt. Theresienstadt, or Terezin, was a 18th century walled fortress located northwest of Prague. It was a ghetto and a transition camp where the Nazis imprisoned Jewish musicians, artists, composers, playwrights, and artists, in addition to tens of thousands of Jewish folk from all walks of life. The SS allowed prisoners some freedom to create and perform, and then used many performances as propaganda tools to fool the International Red Cross and thereby the world. Depending on who you were, living conditions in Theresienstadt might be survivable if one could endure malnutrition, rampant disease, or bribe one's way off of the transports to Auschwitz and Treblinka. We will first perform two movements of Victor Ullmann's String Quartet No. 3, followed by Hans Krasa's Tanetz, or Dance, for string trio, and then conclude with Gideon Klein's final work, his String Trio. Each work was composed in Theresienstadt between 1943 and 1944, and comprise of each composer's final work. These composers knew each other from their prior lives in Prague and worked with one another while in Theresienstadt, continuing their creative work largely due to their privileged status in the ghetto. That status, however, was not enough to save them. All three composers were deported on the same transport to Auschwitz on October 16, 1944, where Hans and Ullmann were murdered upon arrival, and Klein was selected for slave labor in a subcamp of Auschwitz, and he was shot in January of 1945. He was 25 years old. So we will perform the first chapter straight through. You are all relieved from applause in between the movements and the compositions. Please enjoy the works of Victor Ullmann, Hans Krasa, and Gideon Klein. I'm glad that one's over. Okay. It's a workout. So while they get set up for the next chapter, this part of the program travels back in time before the Nazi regime. When I was considering pieces to play today, I really wanted to find some compositions that were not very well known. And thanks to Terry Dobbs, I don't know where she is, she's somewhere. Thanks to Terry Dobbs and the power of really intense internet rabbit holes, I believe I was able to do just that. Each composer in this chapter is not well known when compared to the composers in the first chapter. Rosie Wertheim was a Dutch composer. That's right, she was born in 1888 and experienced a very successful musical career after being one of the first women to achieve a musical degree in the Netherlands. The more I read about Rosie Wertheim, the more I admire her. She taught underprivileged Jewish children free of charge, which stemmed from her love of philanthropy and social work. And Rosie lived in Paris and composed, being influenced by Debussy, Ravel, and Stravinsky. She wrote for multiple composing forums. She lectured. She championed contemporary composers and their works. Chamber music ensembles performed Wertheim's music all over the Western music world, including New York City. Basically, she was killing it in her career. And And then shortly before World War II broke out, Wertheim returned to Amsterdam and continued her career. But like many other Jewish composers, Nazis banned public performances of her music. She was eventually forced to go into hiding during the war, and she survived it, but died in Laren in the Netherlands in 1948. Sadly, her music, until recently, has been pretty much forgotten, so I'm really delighted to perform this string quartet and bring it back to life. Wertheim's quartet was quite popular in the 1930s, and there are very few recordings of it, which allowed us to make our own interpretation. It's been amazing to experience and learning this piece with the women who join me here today. really like that piece. It's like, it was really tricky, but it was really wonderful to put together. This next piece is a duet. It's by a man called Dick Kattenberg. He was a Dutch composer featured in the second chapter of this recital. Kattenberg was 24 years old when he was captured by the Nazis and sent to Auschwitz, where he was murdered in September of 1944. His musical career indicated great promise. Before World War II, Kattenberg was a flourishing violinist and composer influenced by American jazz and popular music of the time. He was also a doodler, which I find very endearing because I also love to draw. And there is a very beautiful self-portrait that you can find online where he drew in some of his manuscripts. Janet and I will play his Violin Escapades, a duet written in 1938, and Kattenberg dedicated this to his friends, the second movement of which he actually dedicated to his girlfriend, Mies, and we know this because he drew a little heart with an arrow with her name in it on the original manuscript. It was so endearing. I was so excited to find these charming little compositions and to learn more about Dick Kattenberg. This young man could have been a friend attending the Mead-Witter School of Music here in Madison, and I sometimes think about him when I see younger students walking through the halls in the humanities. Kattenberg was young and so talented and full of life, and you will hear it when we get to play this for you today. Please enjoy his Violin Escapades. Okay, one final chapter, and then we can all go outside in the cold. It's so cold outside today. The final piece of today's program is a world premiere. When I was brainstorming with Terry Dobbs about this recital, she mentioned playing klezmer music to honor the Jewish tradition of these violins, and I immediately knew that that was how I wanted to end this recital. This is why you have seen several different groups performing here today. It's part of a mad genius plan to have a full, perfect string octet. So I felt that this was like a unique concept because I was reasonably certain a klezmer string octet didn't exist. So I commissioned one of my favorite musicians ever, Aaron Freed, Dr. Aaron Freed, to write one. Not only is Aaron an amazing cellist, he's also an incredibly gifted improviser, arranger, and all-around musician. I gave Aaron the smallest direction in this. I basically was like, I would like a string klezmer octet, go. Which then led to him sending me several YouTube videos of several different pieces, and it's just been so fun watching him compose this, and getting to play this today has been so much fun. And I'm gonna invite Aaron up here to actually talk a little bit about the piece.
Hello. Thank you, Carolyn. So we thought we'd end this with something lively that's sort of along the lines of what these instruments might have been used for, you know, before they became these relics of such a horrible time, and then before they became violins of hope. There's a quote from the Talmud that I wanted to share, which is a sacred, one of the most sacred texts in Judaism. Whoever destroys a single life is considered as if they have destroyed an entire world. Whoever saves a single life is as if he has saved the world. And interestingly, this quote is echoed in the Quran as well. Musicians, we trace our lineage through our teachers and our teacher's teacher, and so much there's so much of this is an oral tradition, and especially folk music. So you know, when a majority of Jews in Eastern Europe were murdered, around half worldwide. Also, Romany musicians, there's a lot of cross-pollination with klezmer and Romany music. So with these, there's so many strands of lineage of a tradition that perished. So klezmer, we could see it as sort of an endangered genre. So luckily, though, there are, and have been for the last 80 years, wonderful musicians keeping the tradition alive. I discovered, in working on this project, I discovered a musician, a violinist named Daniel Hoffman, who has, and I actually met one of his students as well, so he is keeping the tradition going through his performances and his compositions and as an educator. Unfortunately, while I was working on this project, he passed away. So I'd like to dedicate this to him, actually, even though I never met him. But so the first piece that we're gonna play, we're doing a set of 4 pieces, and in klezmer music or in a lot of folk music, it's common to have a set of pieces for a dance party, basically. Usually, you know, maybe a wedding or other celebration. So we're doing a set of 4. The first piece being it's Daniel Hoffman's composition, actually, which is called Kolomicha, named after a city in western Ukraine that kind of became a style of klezmer, a historical homeland of many Ashkenazi Jews. Followed by, we're going to play a Gläsel Wein. You might notice that's the title. This means a glass of wine. This is a klezmer classic made famous by the Klezmatics, a really cool klezmer band if you're looking for more to check out. It translates, to a glass of wine, which is celebratory, but also typical in many most Jewish rituals, except for fasting. You're pretty much drinking some wine. And then we're going to play a Romanian hora, which is a slow waltz. And then we're going to end it off with a lively Russian share, or scissor dance. And so to end with a bang. And without further ado, a Glezel Wein.
A Glezel Wein. I would just like to say thank you to a couple of people. First and foremost, my wonderful people, my wonderful friends. Who have been just so fun to play with this last couple of weeks. I'd also like to thank my doctoral committee, because this is technically like a doctoral concert, sort of, as well. Oriel Sanz, David Perry, Perry Karp, and oh my God, Jess. And Jess. I'm blanking on her last name for some crazy reason. I'm so sorry, Jess. Jess Johnson. I'm sorry, Jess, if you're here and watching this. Okay, I'm so sorry. I would also like to thank the Office of the Chancellor and the Chazen Museum and Barrett Ness, who's been amazing. I'd like to thank Terry Dobbs for just being an incredible collaborator. And I'd also would like to thank my amazing husband, Scott, who's been dealing with me for the last several months. Thank you all so much for coming. It's been so fun playing this for you. I hope you've enjoyed it, and a Glezel Wein.
Thank you all for being here, for being witness. Carry the hope forward this afternoon and in the weeks ahead. The Chazen Museum Concert Coordinator is Haley Hart, with assistance today from Emily Belson. The technical directors for Sunday Afternoon Live at the Chazen are Buzz Kemper and Noah Gaffilin. The equipment is provided by Audio for the Arts. Sunday Afternoon Live at the Chazen is funded by contributions from audience members live and virtual. A donation in any amount is appreciated. Again, to learn more about the Violins of Hope, the website is violinsofhopewisconsin.org. The instruments are here this afternoon. Ask questions, but do be careful as you crowd the table. We will be back on Sunday, December 7th, with a performance from the Wingra Woodwind Quintet. I'm Laurie Skelton. Thank you for your open ears.